So I went yesterday to wind up my second skein, and I pulled it out and I took a good look at it. And whatever caused those holes initially had also made a little bit of a meal of my yarn, and they were breaks in it. Hello, my name is Michelle, and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio podcast. Today is Monday, June 15th, and this is episode number 97. Well, hello, and a warm welcome. It is partly cloudy. The sun was actually out a little while ago. Actually, we've had the gamut today. It was pouring rain this morning when I headed into work. About 9 o'clock, the sun came out, which was great because at 10:30, we dismissed the kids for the last day of school. So it was beautiful, sunny, gorgeous. We had our staff barbecue. My principal was able to grill the burgers and the hot dogs and such. And then it got a little bit cloudy. I mean, it's not raining, but it's cloudy. But it is a beautiful 73 degrees. It was really, really hot and humid this last week. So this feels like a welcome relief to have the temperatures just a little bit lower. So at any rate, that's kind of what things look like from here. I have a great episode today. I have a finished object that I am so thrilled about. I have a mixed bag. Let's put it that way. I got a mixed bag when it comes to my current projects. I have something new that I've started. I have my Woolen Women Fiber Box for the month of June that I can share. So I think we can get started. I do have my windows open, letting in some of the fresh air. So if you hear a little bit of road noise, that is what is going on. So I think with that, let's go take a look at that finished object, shall we? My finished object today, I am so super excited about because technically I cast it on 6 years ago. Yes, you heard me right, 6 years. So yes, I did finish my Tutti Frutti socks. I actually have one more end to weave in. I didn't quite have a chance to weave in the last end, but I blew through these. So technically they were cast on, the official date is June 16th of 2020, so 6 years ago tomorrow. I finished them last Thursday, but I think, when did I start these, like in earnest? 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, right? When I finished whatever it was that I was working on that I was bringing to Bible study, and I don't even remember now. I think my sailing shawl, right? So I really, once I put my mind to it, was able to get these done fairly quickly. Last week when I ended the podcast, I was just about done. The shadows today aren't great, sorry about that. So I was here, but I finished the rest of it and the toe and most of it during Bible study. And then I think it was Thursday after school, I was able to finish, I think just the toe was all I had left at that point. I finished the rows at Bible study. So I'm really excited to try these. They are the first pair of socks that I have knit out of cotton. And this is the Shakenmeyer Regia Tutti Frutti colorway. It's the papaya colorway, but Tutti Frutti color line, which they do still make. I saw some of this when I was at that yarn shop in Waterville a couple weeks ago. Well, no, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And I was looking up. I think it is just cotton. Nope, it is 72% cotton, 18% polyamide, and 10% polyester. So we'll see. I'm really curious to see how these do. But yeah, I am really thrilled that they are finally done and off my needles. Oh, I should probably tell you, this is my standard sock pattern. So I cast on 56 stitches. I have been doing my cuff for 20 rounds. I don't know what this cuff is because I matched the original cuff and I don't remember what I did. I probably measured 2.5 inches or something like that. But I do it from the cuff down. I like to knit on 2 circular needles, and then my heel is the OMG heel by Megan Williams. It is a short row heel. So it has a little bit of a heel flap, just a really tiny heel flap, and then you just do the short row heel. So that is this finished object. So like I said, it's kind of a mixed bag with the projects this week. I felt like it was a little bit of 2 steps forward, 1 step back in some ways. Let's start, I think, with the crochet blanket. This is the Leaping Stripes and Blocks by Tamara Kelly. And it is the blanket that I am making for my best friend's daughter. It is the second version. She already has one just like it. And I realized after I recorded last week that I had to rip the whole thing out and start over because I was doing the stitch pattern wrong. So, and I only made it not quite halfway back because I think I had 2 sets of the color repeat here. Actually, there we go. I started with the dark pink. So I haven't even finished a whole repeat. I'm partway through that row. But it is now being done correctly. It looks much better. I knew something was wrong, and it took, unfortunately, too much time to figure out the problem. I feel like I actually ran into the way that the stitch is described. I struggled with, and it took me a little bit of fiddling and playing with to get it right. And I almost feel like this happened to me the last time that I did this, but that was like 2.5 years ago, and so I didn't remember. But it is now on its way, and school's just about out, so I'm really, really hoping I can get this done, and really, honestly, in the next couple of weeks. I would love to have this one done. We are going on vacation, my husband and I, on June 28th. It's a Sunday. We're going to New Hampshire for 5 nights, and I would love to have this done so I can bring the other blanket that I want to make and have that one kind of be like my vacation project, and that would inject some fun into that one. But I'm not going to stress myself out, and if it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I am using Hobby Lobby Yarns Yarn Bee in their Pearl Spun mostly. That is the ivory color. I think it's pearl, actually. And what's the other one? Easy Going is another line in Cottage Rose. And Hazy Hazel is also a Pearl Spun. So, at any rate, that will get some love and attention. Last week, actually, it was a week, I'll talk about it more in my day-to-day section, but it was a lot of hurry up and wait in my work week. There were chunks of time where it was really, really intense, and then in between that was really, really slow and downtime and frankly kind of dull, not a lot to do. But that back and forthness just made, and then I had things going on in the evening, so I actually did not end up with a ton of energy or time to work on my yarny projects, unfortunately. So even though I restarted this, that's as far as I got. All right, let's move on, shall we? The next project that is, well, the project itself is fine. Let's start there. So this is my Brooklyn Raglan Lite, which is by Tori U. And I'm going to show you the project first, and then we'll talk about the yarn because I got a story about the yarn. So I have now split the sleeves off. And last night I worked, it's a really short sleeve. It's only supposed to be about 2 inches. I was only supposed to knit 1.25 inches, and then the ribbing is 3/4 of an inch. And I decided I wanted it just a little longer. So I knit for 1.5 inches before I started the ribbing. I think I've got 3 out of the 6 rounds done in the ribbing. So this sleeve is nearly done. And then I will go ahead and do the other sleeve, and then I will continue down the body. I did put my try-it-on tubing on so I could try it on last night, and it seems like there's not a ton, so it's a little tricky to tell, but I'm fairly confident that it is going to fit well. So, yeah, Love it though. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm excited to keep going with this one. And now the yarn. Let's talk about the yarn. So the yarn is yarn that I have had in my stash for, oh, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 years. Yeah, that's fair. And I'm looking for the tag in here. I do have a tag because I wound up the second ball, which is where the problems began. But what did I do with the tag? It's Ella Rae Lace Merino. Did I put it in this zippy pouch? I don't know. I don't know where the tag went. I will find it at some point. But it is Ella Rae Lace Merino in the aqua blue colorway. And this yarn was a project previously. So all of what I've knit is this first skein that I wound up back 6 years ago. I'm nearly certain it was the August of 2020, and I remember this because we went away for a couple of days. It was the height of COVID. We had to stay within the state of Maine, and my husband and I just wanted to take a couple of days. We went to a little bed and breakfast down in southern Maine, and I remember bringing this project because I was doing a beaded shawl, and I remember working on the project while we were on vacation. And I did a decent chunk of it, and then came home, probably worked on it for a little bit, and then it got set aside. I did not take it out until the following summer, and then when I went to take it out the following summer, I had 3 holes in the shawl, and it had been sitting in my project basket, which primarily is to my left here, for the entire winter. It didn't look like moths. It was like they were holes, like it was cut. And so I ripped the whole thing out. I was very annoyed, but I ripped it all out. I started it over, and I didn't even do maybe a third of what I had previously done when I got set aside again. And then it sat all the way until this past winter when I ripped it out one more time. I'm like, I am not gonna make this shawl. And as I was ripping it out, I was thinking, gosh, this would make a really great t-shirt, this yarn though. So, great, so I did. So I had ripped it out, I cast it on with the yarn that I had. I'm getting to the end of my first skein. And I don't know, can you see in there how much I have left? So I went yesterday to wind up my second skein. And I pulled it out, and I took a good look at it. And whatever caused those holes initially had also made a little bit of a meal of my yarn, and there were breaks in it. And I ended up with a total of 13 little balls. I will pop a picture in right here. I was so discouraged, and I haven't even weighed. The biggest one is, I think, this ball right here. And I don't know, is that what, maybe 18 to 20 grams? I'm trying to think if it's about the size probably of a 20 gram mini when I have wound that up. So I have 2 balls that are about this size. So these are my 2 biggest balls. I did try to cake the original batch, but it's not as dense as these. And then I have a bunch of little ones. And I was just frustrated. And I still, to this day, I don't know what it was. Again, I really don't think it was moths. I have not seen any sign of moths anywhere else. I don't know if it was like a carpet beetle or honestly mice, although I never saw evidence of mouse poop in my project bag back in 21. Because I'm confident that this damage occurred back, because it was the extra skein was living in the project bag with the project. And so I'm nearly certain that it happened all at the same time. And I have had ongoing mice issues. This house is like a regular sieve in the wintertime, not sealed airtight in any way, shape, or form. And so I'm actually leaning towards a mouse. or some sort of, again, carpet beetle, but I've not seen any other sign of insect infestation or damage anywhere else to any of my other knitted goods. This is the first time and only time. So I think I can still finish this project. I'm really hopeful. It's just gonna be a pain in the caboose. I will start with the biggest chunk and work my way down. I took one of the smallest ones to knit the first sleeve, and I weighed it, it was like 9 3/4 ounce, 9.75 grams rather. And I think when I weighed it just before I started the cuff, I was at like 6 grams or 5 grams. So by weighing that, I'm hoping that when I knit the second sleeve, I can choose a scrap that is the right size and at least use one of my scraps that way. It's just gonna be a nuisance because I'm gonna have lots of ends to weave in, but at the end of the day, the yarn itself is still okay. The parts that are intact and they're fine. And I found all the weak spots as I was winding it. So I started with the cake and then I'm like, this is not gonna work because I can see there's like 10 different ends there, which means I'm gonna have all these little balls. So I just shifted to hand winding in balls, and that's my sad story of this yarn. But again, this is also, I'm hoping to maybe have this done in the next week and a half before we go on vacation, because I would love, and this actually I would prefer to have done over that blanket. So I'm gonna opt for this in favor of the blanket and getting this done, because I would really love to bring the yarn that I bought last weekend with my mom that I plan to knit a t-shirt. I still have to choose a pattern, but I would love to bring that on vacation and have that be like a brand new cast on for vacation. So this is my goal. I think it's realistic because again, school is basically out at this point. So I think I should be able to, I get that sleeve took me like less than an hour last night, the first sleeve. And so I got the second sleeve and then the rest of the body, and that's just round and round and round and round. I might even, if I get that going, bring that with me to Bible study this week, because it will be super, super easy to bring. And Wednesday, I am taking my friend, has a procedure at the hospital, and so I'm bringing her. So that will be a project that I will definitely be working on in the waiting room of the hospital too. So at any rate, I think that's an achievable goal. So that's the story of my Brooklyn Raglan Lite. Stay tuned to see where I'm at next week and how this all plays out. So in the meantime, I did cast on a new project, and I don't have a ton of it, but I couldn't help myself. I just couldn't help myself. I cast on the blue striped socks that I have been wanting to make for 2 years. So all I have is a little baby cuff, and that's it. But I needed to get it going because I'm very excited for this project as well. So I finished the Tutti Frutti socks on Thursday. So Saturday, I'm like, okay, I want to cast it on. So I cast it on just as we're leaving to go visit my mother-in-law. And that is mostly what I worked on, I think in the car. I might have pulled it out briefly at her house, but the yarn is Dirty Water Dye Works in her Lillian base. It is the Moon Shadow Gradient and March Sky. This is the March Sky. And these are the leftovers from my Islands in the Stream shawl that I knit back in June of 2024. And when I was knitting that shawl, it did not use as much of the yarn as I had hoped. And so I decided that I had enough. I think I have like, I don't remember, over 300 yards, probably close to 400 yards in all these colors. So this one is not it. But these are the 5 colors. Hopefully you're seeing this enough. But those are like good size balls. They are almost 20 grams a piece. And my plan is to do stripes. I'm going to do 22 rows of blue with 2 rows of the March Sky. That was the contrast color in the shawl. And then I have cast on the cuffs in this, and I'm definitely gonna do the toes in this. I only have like 22 grams, so I am not confident that I will have enough for toes, cuffs, heels, and stripes. So I pulled out this brown here, which is Miss Bab's yarn. And I think it's gonna go decently well. I'm sorry for the lighting. I should have closed my window shade. And this will be the heel. That's what I was gonna say. So I think it's gonna be great. And I'm super excited to have these on the needles. I think, again, once I get going, I'm not sure if this is gonna, because I'm striping it and I'm gonna have to swap and I'm gonna have to count the rows. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about bringing this with me to Bible study, but I'm hoping to actually work on them and just blow through them. Like I've knit an entire pair of socks when I've been on vacation in New York City. So theoretically, I should be able to knit these fairly quickly. I'm hoping that they don't linger and I can get them kind of, they haven't been on the needles, but they have been in my whips on Ravelry because I put down the information that I wanted. I figured this out 2 years ago and then never got around to casting them on. So I kind of want to get it off of my mental radar, as it were. So super excited to have those. And I think that is everything for this week. Tuesday was a really busy day at work, so it was super fun to come home and to find my Woolen Women fiber box for the month of June, and it's a good one. They're all good ones, which is why I keep doing it. I really should stop, but I'm having a hard time, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon, let's be honest. So let's take a look. If you have not yet received or opened your June box, you might want to look away, although that said, they send out the spoiler pictures, so it's not really a surprise to anybody. This month's theme is Flower Moon. Yeah, Flower Moon. I'm going to make you wait on the yarn. I have this fun little tag here that could go on a project bag. I think these holes are for like project markers or something. I don't know. Not sure what I'll do with it, but there is also a lanolin lotion bar. It's geranium, bergamot, and saffron. I'll have to try that, especially since I got that lotion bar last week, and see how it compares. I've got a yummy candle, honeysuckle, bergamot, and sandalwood. Oh yeah, that does smell really good. They always do. Love their candles. Now that I'm home, I'm excited to burn some candles. I did it a lot in the winter, and then I didn't as much throughout the spring for some reason. And then Sam, of Sam's Tiny Trinkets, does the little project keepers. So cute. The project bag I took out, and I was gonna use it for my socks and just show it to you that way. But it's one that doesn't zip closed, which is totally fine. Like for most things, I think it'll be fine. Matter of fact, maybe I'll switch my sweater, my Brooklyn Raglan Lite to this because it's big and so everything will stay in there. I was just really concerned with all the individual balls of yarn in the socks that I would lose something. So that was my only concern with this, but I do really like the project bag. And then the yarn. Oh, the yarn is so pretty. Oh, so gorgeous. I've always really enjoyed green. I kind of have shifted to blue, but a greenish blue. Got some yellows in there. A really fun green mini skein to go with it. So, oh, super beautiful. I have no idea. It would actually, this would make a really pretty shawl. I might have to do a shawl with this one because I think that would be really pretty, and then maybe edge it with the green. That would be pretty. At any rate, that is the latest thing on my yarn shelf. Well, this will be a fun day today. I've already told you that today was the last student day, so I'm starting at the very end, right? Because that's today. Now, let's go back. Let's go back in time a week and to last Tuesday, which was a very busy day. That was one of those super, super busy days, start to finish. We started the morning with our field day for, it kicked off at 8 and went to like 10:30. So 2.5 hours. There was like 4 or 5 different rotations. The kids, a form had gone out. Kids could choose the activity that they wanted. And so they were all over, but it was beautiful. It was hot. It was one of those really hot days, but it was gorgeous to be outside. And then we came inside and they had their lunches. And then after lunch, we did our step up day, which is when we send our 8th graders up to the high school. Our 7th graders go visit their new 8th grade teams. And then we welcome the 6th graders into the building to meet their new teams for the first time. So that was a lot of fun. But again, very busy. And I came home and I was exhausted. And then I went to the gym. So all in all, super, super busy. Wednesday was pretty straightforward. Thursday, we had our awards night, which is always a fun time. Again, I went to the gym and then came home and took a shower and got ready for the awards. So that is just an evening where we recognize the 7th and 8th graders who have, honor roll, and there's a President's Award, a Citizenship Award, perfect attendance, and then there's some team awards, like things like that. It was quick. It was like 30, 35 minutes, but it's, something else we gotta do, right? And then Friday was our 8th grade bridge ceremony, which is also, again, a lot of fun, but super busy in that window of time. So the morning was pretty quiet and straightforward, and then the bridge ceremony, we started at 12:30, did it and got them out of there and had our dismissal. And then I had cart class Friday night. So it was just one of those weeks where it was a lot of things all at once. Saturday morning, I spent the morning kind of weeding out my black raspberry bushes. I don't know if you can see my arms are like wicked scratched up. It was hot. I did it early. I was out there at like 9 and I worked for about 3 hours. I got more than half of it done, and then I came across a bird's nest with some baby birds in it. And they were little. They must have been 3 or 4 days old. I'm hoping, like, we covered it up as best we could. I put some of the pucker branches back kind of around it. We put some, like a bucket and some things around to keep the dogs from exploring too much, so a barrier for them, but not so close that the mother would feel like we had infringed. So I'm really, really hoping Mama Bird went back to take care of baby birds, and I will check it in a week or so and then maybe go back out and finish cleaning out last year's stuff and staking them and tying them and all of those things. I know I should wear something on my arms, but it was so hot and I would die. I just knew I would die. So I had to put up with it. And every year I say, I'm not gonna do this in June, I'm gonna do it back at the end of April, the beginning of May, and then it's really busy, or it's cold and rainy, or something, right? Anyway, that's what I did on Saturday. And then yesterday we had a graduation party for my niece, the oldest niece on my side of the family. My 3 kids are the oldest, and then she would be the next one down. So we had her graduation party, and that was a lot of fun to see her graduated and heading off into the world. She is going to cosmetology school, so which works out because I've been seeing my hairdresser for, I was calculating like 35 years. Like I was young, I was 12, I think, or 13 when I started seeing her. So she's gonna retire at some point and I'm gonna need somebody. So if my niece can get her license, that would be fantastic, and then I can just go see her. And that brings me to today. We had 3 hours with our kids. We were outside. Again, the sun came out. It was great. We were blowing bubbles and waving, and a whole bunch of staff were outside. It's always a lot of fun. We had a staff barbecue for lunch, and then we had time in our spaces. I got my office all packed up, ready to go, labeled everything that needed to be labeled because they empty my office entirely so they can wax the floors every year. So I have to pack everything. And it didn't take me too long. I got actually most of it done in the couple hours while the kids were still there because I didn't have any reason to be out and about. So at any rate, I think my battery is about to die. So I think I'm going to sign off. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I will have links down below in the show notes for all of the things. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Knittin Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE. And you could also send me an email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. With that, I hope you have a fantastic week and happy knitting.